tonight, why is our water wasting away?
I'd say 40 to 50 feet in the air and possibly 40 feet in width. Dark, dirty, horrible water, which was flooding everywhere about.
Losing supplies as the drought takes hold.
Water leakage came down for a few years. In 2001, it suddenly shot up again and went up the year after. And it's still higher than it was 5 years ago.
Higher bills for consumers, bigger profits for the companies.
How come when leakage has gone up from 600 million litres a day to 900 million litres a day, your directors' bonuses have trebled?
If that's the contract and people achieve what's in the contract, then they should be paid the bonus.
Good evening. It may be hard to believe after this week's rain, but large swathes of Britain are facing an increasingly severe drought. Water companies in the south of England are considering emergency measures to preserve supplies. And summer hosepipe restrictions in the southeast have now led to wholesale autumn bans.
I'm not that stupid. Well, I know where the water comes from. I know where it's wasted.
No wonder she was angry. Back then, the companies had an appalling record of leaks and bursts. While taps were being shut off, water was running freely through the streets. And 10 years on, things haven't changed much.
You would have thought that government, the regulators and the water companies would have learnt from that lesson, and they did initially take some steps to try and put things right. We saw leakage targets being set by water companies, we saw 25-year water resource plans being required and so on. What we see is that although leakage came down for a few years, in 2001 it suddenly shot up again and went up the year after. And it's still higher than it was 5 years ago. And they've lost control over leakage. Of course, we've had a few wet years, so the political pressure isn't there anymore. And it comes down to profits and money at the end of the day.
Together, the water companies lose a staggering 3 billion litres of purified water a day through leaky or broken pipes. Now, that amount is hard to imagine unless you happen to live in the Davyhulme district of Manchester. But with an estimated 4 million new homes in 10 years' time, requiring nearly 1.5 billion litres of water a day, and the Environment Agency predicting decades of low rainfall, the water companies need to do their bit too. If not, this year's hosepipe bans could be the least of our problems.
If we don't get our act together, we don't sort out the water loss through leakage, if we don't make sure that water companies get their act together, and the regulators and the government and ourselves don't reduce the demand, we are faced, particularly in the southeast, with the definite prospect of droughts in every year, water rationing, and indeed public unrest as a result of that, because inevitably if there's standpipes, people will perceive that others are taking more than their fair share. There will be problems, and that is a very real threat. I'll be accused of scaremongering. It's not. It is simply an honest opinion of the way we're headed if government, regulators and companies, and indeed individual users, don't get their act together in the next few years.
Jonathan Maitland reporting. And that's nearly all we have time for this evening. On Monday, what are the chances of the deadly bird flu epidemic reaching Britain? And as the danger increases, how many people are at risk? Is our health service sufficiently prepared? And is there enough vaccine to go round?
I think there is a real risk that there will not be enough antiviral treatment. The government is certainly not planning to stockpile enough treatment for everybody in the country. It can't afford to, and I'm not sure it would be possible to get enough stocks made up.
We'll have the answers to all those questions in a special report on Monday night at 8 o'clock. Until then, from all of us here, goodbye, and thank you for joining us.
Next tonight on ITV1, we're back in Weatherfield, and if you thought you'd seen the best of the worst of Charlie, then stay exactly where you are. There's brand new Taggart at 9, and later after the news, Real Crime investigates Mr. Nice Guy at 11.